trash? We're diving into some of the most hyped week one betting lines in college football. You've seen the trends, the buzz, the narratives, but our experts are going to weigh in and let us know what they're buying in on and what they are tossing out the window. So let's look at some of those lines. You got Texas at Ohio State. Ohio State favored -2.5. Bama laying 13.5 at Florida State. Our college pregame show will be there for that. We got Nevada at Penn State. That's just a ridiculous line. -43.5. That one on CBS. LSU at Clemson 4.5, and then Notre Dame laying 2.5 at the U. And we'll welcome in our crew now to play this game. We got Mackenzie Brooks with us here in studio and Emery Hunt as well. You heard what we're doing here. It is trend or trash here. If you like it, then let's say you like the trends. If not, then let's not. Okay, so we're going to start now with Texas. They are 1-7 straight up, 2-6 against the spread versus top 6 ranked teams. They opened the season against Ohio State, as we saw there, as 2.5-point underdogs. So Ken's trend or trash?
This is the toughest one for me. I'd say trash because honestly there's so many unknowns about both these teams. Can I plead the fifth and take the under on the game? Because that's what I do feel passionate about, with two new quarterbacks trying to figure out what's going on, two solid defenses. That's where I'd put my money. But I would not buy into the Texas trends of performing poorly in week one. I think this should be a really close game.
All right, so Kent is kind of laying off this one, but she does like the under in this game.
I got more heat for you later.
Okay. Oh, that I believe. That I believe. Emery, so you give us the heat on this one. Trend or trash?
Listen, I am taking United Airlines and Uber to the comment section during this game, because whatever happens, Twitter will be on fire. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Archman in his first game, and if they win or lose, I'm trashing the trend, because I like Ohio State and what they have and how they have built this team on both sides of the ball is like a factory. But so has Texas. I'm with Ken's on this one. I kind of hate the fact that, you know, it can go either way. But I will say, I am fading Texas in this ball game. I like Ohio State in this spot. First game for Arch Manning on the road as a starter against a top 10 team, a team that won the national championship, even though they lost a lot of players. And I still think Texas wins the SEC, but this game ain't the SEC, and I like Ohio State to get the job done.
It's so interesting because Ohio State obviously are the reigning champions, but they almost feel like this is a revenge spot for them because of the coaches poll and how Texas got to be #1, so they feel extra motivated for this one. Next up, Florida State. They are 1-7 against the spread versus SEC top 10 teams. The Noles are catching 3.5 points against Alabama in week one. That is a big number. Ken's trend or trash? You're going to be there.
Oh, yeah, I am. Boots on ground and go with the trend. I think this FSU team is going to get smacked again in week one. I think Alabama, this should be like a 17 to 20 point victory. If they want to put the pedal to the metal, maybe they don't. But, I mean, you return your top 2 receivers. You have probably one of the best defenses in the SEC, just returning most of your defense. FSU's quarterback, yes, he's going to be a dual threat, and it's going to be so good for them in the ACC, right? Let's not talk about trying to put that up against an SEC caliber defense. So I do think this might be a humbling opening for this Florida State team.
I'm going to take Florida State plus the points here. I like this matchup for Florida State. It reminds me a lot of their matchup against LSU a couple of years ago when they came in. LSU was kind of like the favorite, and Florida State came in and kept it close and won the ball game outright. But I do like this because Thomas Castellanos has been talking smack all summer. My kind of guy, right? Talking smack about Alabama and what they're going to do. Now you get to go out there and back it up. And because he's a mobile guy that kind of throws off the rush lanes of what Bama wants to do defensively. But I do think because in a week 1, week 0 matchup, I've always said this, you have all spring and all summer to focus on one opponent. And so therefore these games tend to be tight. That's why we see a lot of upsets in week 0 and week 1. I'm not saying they'll beat them outright, but 13.5 in a week 1 game with all that smack he talk, this game is going to be closer.
It's funny that you're on that side of it, because I'm looking at him talking smack all summer and being like, this is just gold locker room content for Alabama to just feed on all summer and just be like, this guy's an absolute loser.
I will say I've been watching that Netflix series Any Given Saturday about the SEC, and it's been really entertaining.
You're a big
to watch.
SEC girl now? join?
I'm an NFL girly, but I do. Yeah, okay, fine. I dabble in the SEC now. But it's interesting that you guys are on opposite sides of that near 2-touchdown spread there. So one more or a couple more trend or trash here. LSU gone 0-5, both straight up and against the spread in season openers since 2020. It's just a horrible stat to have.
Yeah.
They opened against Clemson this year. A little tiger on tiger action there. I know it. I know it. Clemson laying 3.5. Ken, starting with you again. Are you trusting the other Tigers to get it done in week 1?
My brain's getting confused. I am going to trash the trend of LSU being a poor against the spread team. I actually think they win this game outright. We put so much into this brand name of Clemson and into Dabo, and I understand and respect him and the program's history. They haven't won hard games. Like, they're losing to South Carolina. They barely beat Wake Forest. They lose even back to like last year. They lose to NC State. They lose to Miami. Like, they lose to Georgia by 31 in week 1 last year. They don't beat quality opponents. So until I see this talent on paper executed on the field against an awesome SEC team, which I think LSU has the potential to be, I can't believe in the Clemson Tigers.
I am going to go with the trend here. I like Clemson in this game. And the only reason why I agree with you, Ken, I do like LSU long term. Their defense is going to be outstanding. Offensively, they got better as well. Now they're going to play the best back, and so their run game is going to be, outstanding. But the only reason why I trust Clemson is that I trust K. Klubnik more than I trust Garrett Nussmeier. Klubnik has the athleticism and is not afraid to use it. I think that's going to be the difference in this ball game. Garrett Nussmeier, unless he shows differently than what he showed out there last season in terms of taking sacks or making ill-advised throws or throwing off his back foot in an adverse situation, not stepping up in the pocket, taking that shot in the chops, and delivering the strike down the middle. Until I see differently, I can't trust him in a high leverage situation. We saw him get outplayed by Miller Moss last year in the opener for USC. And so I'm going to go with Clemson here. I think we'll go with the trend of LSU in openers.
All right, so you guys have been on opposite sides, actually.
Yeah,
in
we're
most
not
of
usually
these.
Like this, Emery.
Well, you know what they say, one man's trash is another man's trend. Let's get one recap of what Emery and Ken's are looking at with these week 1 lines. When it comes to Texas at OSU, Ken says pass, but she does like that under, and Emery's going to lay the 2.5 with Ohio State. Bama at FSU, they're on opposite sides. Ken's laying the 13.5 with Bama, and Emery says not so fast. I'll grab that near 2 touchdown. And then LSU at Clemson, opposite sides again. Emery's going to lay the 4.5, and Ken's is going to grab them.
Wow, we have to take note of this.
Still hasn't taken his first snap as the full-time Texas starter, taking over for Quinn Ewers, and we're already just completely fixated on whether or not he's going to come back next season at Texas.
I feel like, I mean, we know his family says yes, but we have to see how he's going to play.
Right. I mean, so this is an excerpt from Texas Monthly, and Archie Manning, his grandfather. So the article reads, with or without a championship ring, his grandfather says he hasn't discussed it with Arch, whether or not he's going to come out after this year and maybe be the #1 pick, but he knows his grandson. And Archie says, Arch isn't going to do that. He'll be at Texas.
What'd you call your grandfather?
Grandpa.
Creative.
Danny Cannell, we call him the HQ Grandpa. Danny Cannell joining us.
Oh, that's Pete. Come on, that's Pete.
You're right, it is Pete. What I want to know, like, why are we already trying to make this decision for Archie? Like, is Grandpa even said, I haven't discussed this with Archie? Why keep saying, yeah, no matter what, even if they win the national championship and he wins a Heisman, he's going to come back?
I mean, we haven't talked about an amateur player like this since LeBron James. Like, I can't even think of a football player. Tebow, kind of, but nothing to the magnitude with the expectations and the amount of airtime we've given to a player who we really haven't seen much from. And it comes with the territory. It's the last name and his uncles and his grandfather. I mean, it's kind of what we get. I will say this, though, Hassel, I've felt the same way. Like, I don't think it matters how he plays this season. I think he might struggle a little bit. I think he's going to be good. If he's great, then they probably do win the national championship. But I do think sort of all my chips are on the table for Arch Manning next year. And I will say this, I think he could be the first $10 million a year quarterback if he does that, because he's going to be the projected, if he plays well this season, he'll be the projected #1 overall pick. And, you know, we've seen these conversations before, like with Cooper Flagg at Duke. There was a little bit of, does he come back? And people are like, no way. This is a very unique situation where Texas has the money to do it. Arch has the patience to come back and continue to develop. And I think he's smart enough to realize I could use 2 years fully in college, kind of developing as a quarterback so that I am better prepared when I go to the NFL. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's there for 2 years at Texas.
And maybe it also matters who gets the #1 pick. I mean, we know what happened with Eli Manning back in the day. After this article came out, the betting markets did shift. Manning was plus 450 to go #1 next year. He's now plus 850 or so. So it's seeming more and more like he is going to say another year. Now, Ryan Wilson's latest mock draft actually does not include Arch Manning. It includes Garrett Nussmeier, who he has going #1 to the Saints, which kind of all ties in because Archie went to the Saints. And Garrett Nussmeier's dad is the OC of the Saints. So another family affair there. Do you see Nussmeier as the #1 quarterback prospect if it's not Arch next year?
Boy, there's some really good quarterbacks that have massive expectations this season. You know, DJ Lagway comes to mind at Florida, you know, but he's had, you know, kind of an up and down career with injuries. How does it face there? On this, I mean, Drew Aller could take a massive step forward, and he's the big physical body type. You know, as much as I like Garrett Nussmeier, he's not your prototypical size. Drew Aller is. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5". He just slimmed down to like 225, 230. But I think the thing that people love about Garrett Nussmeier is the fact that he's the son of a coach. And he does have a grittiness and an ability to step up and make